says, "Welcome to Lincoln Hills Cares," which I'm going to tell people about their website at the end of our talk, so that we can get more people, interested in Lincoln Hills. But just a little side note is Lincoln Hills Cares, and this is a Facebook feed that I'm reading. And in this Facebook feed, it says African American History Month, and ongoing debate continues whether it should exist. And they did not expound any more than that, so they're leading me as the reader to believe that whether or not that Lincoln Hills should continue to exist. But in the meantime, I'm going to share a little story. Lincoln Hills, from the necessity to an opportunity for Black Americans in the history of Lincoln Hill, and it began in 1922 when the Lincoln Hills Development Company, LHDC, was formed by, Denverites, E.C. Ranger and Roger Ewalt and others who brought Lincoln Hills to fruition.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I'm not really aware of the debate, and so
I wasn't either till I just
because
came across this page.
It does exist, and I'm kind of going through my mind. It's like, well, what are they saying? And obviously, this was a resort for African Americans.
Right.
Whites, of course, visited Lincoln Hill.
Right.
That's been documented, but it was necessary in the face of racist discrimination and segregation.
Right.
And so it existed. Now, could a place that a resort in today's America that was and let me put it another way. Lincoln Hills hit hard times in the 1950s and actually was sold in 1964 or 65 because increasingly African Americans were allowed, so to speak, were allowed entry to resorts that had been off limits to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so, and in 1964, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and one of the provisions of that act made it illegal across the country, made it illegal to discriminate on the basis of race in public accommodations, in places of recreation or business that were open to the public. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so as the laws changed, as some attitudes, not all, as some attitudes,
right,
and African Americans were able to go to places where they had been forbidden, like Estes Park or whatever.
Right.
Interest in Lincoln Hills declined. It decreased. And I still don't understand what is meant. You said you read from the website, but anyway, what that statement or that question, should Lincoln Hills exist? I'm saying historically, Lincoln Hills existed. And just as Americans, both private organizations and the government, as they honor historical monuments, they make historical monuments out of significant places in our past.
Right.
I believe Lincoln Hills should be. So I don't know what that means.
Me neither.
It exists.
Right.
It exists.
Right. It still exists today.
Yeah.
And I really wish they would have expounded on that, really gave more detail.
Maybe that's another interview for you.
You know something, dear? It is another interview because I'm going to dig and I'm going to find out, because this is a cliffhanger for me,
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And to even make this statement and to see this in print, it doesn't give me anything to hang on. I'm like, well, what are we talking about? It exists today. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. If you can put a plaque on a inn where George Washington visited or slept, George Washington slept here.
Right.
And make sure that structure, is maintained. Then certainly you private organizations with state government and our federal government can make sure that those places that were significant to, I don't care whether it's African Americans, whether it's Asian Americans, First Nations peoples, American Indians, that those places are honored and preserved.
Right.
Because it's all American history.
All of it is history.
Yeah.
And my co-host, Ms. Wallace, has a question she would like to ask.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you. This is so fascinating.
Hi.
So I looking on your website too. It's LincolnHillsCares.org, and I see that they have where you can make donations and you can even volunteer. And it looks like they have Outdoor Education Foundation and the Willow Education Services, and it for humanitarian rights, environmental challenges. You can support the community, and it's for people across the nation. So that's exciting. There's a phone number at 720-504-9754, and you can fill out this form and get an email, and you can donate to help keep this going. So that's pretty cool that they have education services.
Yeah, I had told Sean that I believe that there was outdoor recreation education for young people.
Yes, you did.
So I believe, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows that's not my website. I'm not a part of Lincoln Hills. I've researched Lincoln Hills, but I'm not a part of Lincoln Hills Cares. They're the charitable arm of the company that actually owns at least some of that land that used to be Lincoln Hills. But that is good information that your co-host just shouted out.
Yes, that was some wonderful information. But you know what? You know what hurts me, and I love that this is happening. That gives me hope, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it. That there is still an opportunity, but why? I'm just trying to understand, why do our people let that just fall into such decay,
Well, you have to look at what happened with Lincoln Hills. So you have the development company developing Lincoln Hills and selling lots in the 1920s. You had the Great Depression during the 1930s.
Yes.
So a lot of those, and it wasn't just, although most of the investors who had invested in lots were from Denver, you had people as far away as New York and California who, wanted their piece of the Lincoln Hills pie. But, hard times hit, and during the Depression, black people, more than most, were impacted by the Great Depression.
Right.
So I think if you studied it, you would go back to the Great Depression and see how that's why so many of those lots were never developed. I mean, you had people buying the lots, but they never were able to put a cabin or a structure on those lots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And but also, as I said, I think it's important to note that as time went on, who knows? I don't know if it was economic hardships, if people moved away.
Mm-hmm.
People moved away, so you had mobility or economic hardships, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Most of those lots did not see cabins, and those lots that did see cabins, many of them are really in, to say the very least, ill repair right now.
Right.
And that's another story about what happened to the people who actually put up structures but didn't maintain them, weren't able to maintain them.
You're right. That is something that this. I feel like I've opened a can of worms, to be honest about it, and it's so much more, and it goes so much deeper,
Mm-hmm.
And go right ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You go ahead.
I'm at awe. Sometime this summer, my wife and I, and hopefully the children will want to go with us. We are going to take a trip up there because I want to stand there and physically see, this place that I've come to learn and still learn about,
Oh, you should. I first went up there with my husband and our daughter, I guess 2 or 3, I guess it was 3 years ago, one summer, and we drove up there. Again, it's just about 35, 40 miles west of Denver. So it's not far at all.
Danny, this is
it's
Janine.
So very close. Hi,
Danny. This is Janine again. Yeah, I noticed it's in Gilpin County. I used to work up at Ameristar. So is it close to the casinos over there?
Boy, you'd have to, the casinos, let's see, where are the casinos?
They're in Black
just Clear Creek.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah. Right next to me, I see right next to Clear Creek. And so, technically, really not far away.
I'm going up there and get some pictures.
And again, it's not marked well. We came from the South Metro area, and so we took C-470 to Highway 93. Highway 93, that goes past the now defunct, God, I can't remember, Rocky Flats, the Rocky Flats area. But so you're on 93, you're literally, the foothills are just directly west of you. And then we turned west onto State Highway 72. And 72 just winds in and out of Boulder and Gilpin counties. Every 2 seconds there was a sign that said Boulder County, that said Gilpin County. But you end up in Gilpin County to get to Lincoln Hills. So if you can figure the route from where you're talking about, Janine, it's not far. I mean, it's close to Nederland.
Okay.
It's fairly close to Nederland. So yeah, it's in that general area.
Well, thank you. I can't wait to go see it. I want to go up there and take some pictures.
You should. And again, to get to the Winks Lodge, you won't, as you drive by, you'll finally see a sign that says "Welcome to Historic Lincoln Hills," but you won't be able to see Winks Lodge, the Winks panorama that Sean was talking about earlier. But get out of your car and hike up the hill, and it fills you with a sense of history. It's like, wow.
And that's it right there. To get that
wow.
That sense of history, that feeling of that. Look at what my people did.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I'm thinking too? Can you imagine, like in the entertainment world back then? Everybody probably actually looked forward to going to such a beautiful place because Colorado's beautiful. And that's on the way from the East Coast to California, which I'm sure a lot of people probably stopped coming from both directions going to each coast to entertain.
Well, this story, the Lincoln Hill story, intersects with a story that I alluded to before that goes way beyond African Americans, but just about Americans in general. If they, had a couple of nickels rubbed together, really wanting to get out and explore. So, you had the rise of tourism. And Colorado's mountains were just, beckoning. It's like, come here, come here, come here. You also have the rise of the automobile. That's how people were getting around. And, of course, you could take a train locally. You could take a train to close to Lincoln Hills. There wasn't actually a train stop. You might have to hike a bit after you got off the train. But so, you have the expansion of tourism. You have certainly the expansion of car culture. And all of it was intersecting. And this was a way for getting back to the exclusion for African Americans to participate in that. Okay? They had to create their own.
That is what I'm talking about. And I can't think of any way to end African American Month or Black History Month for me, than to have this discussion, to open up this debate, to bring this to the forefront, because I've learned since I've been here, there isn't many Coloradans that really know what anything about Lincoln Hills, and the more I talk to people, the more I find that they didn't even know it existed.
And to find out too that 5 Points was like the Harlem of Colorado. They had the entertainment scene going on like big.
It was major.